wish Mother was here.
This is the Candyland Hour for all good children. The orchestra will play our theme song.
You know that song, don't you?
Sure I do.
Well, then sing it.
Hello, welcome to Pursuit Table Talk. This is Pastor Mike Hofer, and I am joined with
Evan Amone.
No, Barfield.
Kristen Hofer.
and we just like to thank you for joining us one more again. We've had an issue with what episode this is, but I can go ahead
I believe it's
and
17.
I can verify, 100% Twitter verified. It is episode 17.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are 17 episodes in. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good run so far.
Our podcast is almost an adult.
It is almost. It is almost an adult.
Yo.
We can almost buy lottery tickets in the state
I'm the
of Georgia.
same age of this podcast.
Boom.
There you go. Boom. We are Evan aged. And so we just like to welcome you again for joining us. Welcome you again. Joining us. What am I saying? Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Man, that Milky Way is going straight
Thank
to
you
my
for
head.
joining
What
us.
was in that Milky Way?
It's a little bit later tonight, ladies and gentlemen, recording this. So if this gets a little loopy, just hang along for the ride.
I'm not real sure what's in that Milky Way. It might be like that new show on Netflix. Have you guys seen that new show on Netflix yet?
There's a lot of new shows on Netflix right now.
No, this one is there's this show on Netflix and it's brand new, and it is called Cooking on High.
It's exactly what you
It's
think.
exactly what you think it is.
Really?
It is a.
They cook on high temperatures?
Yes,
Like,
high temperatures.
they turn the
Everything
microwaves
they
to like
cook is on
1300
super
watts?
high. That's right. What it is it's kind of like if you've ever seen Iron Chef. It's a cooking competition. There are two chefs that go into this kitchen, and this is a little more intimate. It looks like it's filmed at like Paula Deen or one of them, Martha Stewart's house. It's a really cool little kitchen setup. But there's two chefs and they're having a competition, and there's three judges, and I think they make like 4 courses. And out of those 4 courses, every course has to have marijuana in it.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
they
crazy.
have an expert in marijuana
Of course they do.
that comes out and brings different strands
Is it a woman named
Wait.
Mary Jane?
of weed. No, it's a dude, but I don't know his name.
Is his name Mary Jane?
I have not and do not plan to watch the show, but I just saw the trailer for it. You know how Netflix, you pop it up
Yeah.
now, and like the first show
That's
is like
crazy.
their new one, and even if you scroll on it like immediately plays the trailer.
I hate it when it does that.
And I was like, this is crazy. This can't be what I think it is. And oh yeah, it was everything that I thought it was.
Welcome, everyone, to the positivity
What a time to be alive.
episode of this podcast.
And it was shout out
Super
to,
positive.
Actually, shout out to Brandon Brannigan. He's the one that pointed that one out to me.
Wow.
He texted me. He texted me and he said he sent me the link to that show, and he said
Thinking about you.
the devil is a lie. That's what he sent me that link and said hashtag the devil's a lie. So.
Wow.
All of that comes from the fact that I messed up the beginning of this show, and I'm eating the Milky Way that I think was on that show, Cooking on High. So, don't watch that show. It is not a Pursuit Table Talk approved show. We're not endorsing that show, but
PTTA
I thought it
approved.
was kind of fun to talk about. This week, though, it is. I'm gonna let you know a little secret. This week is our positivity show.
Yeah.
We decided this week that everything we do is going to have a positive slant to it. The world is filled with a lot of negative news, and negativity sells, and we've had our share of arguing and debating and friendly banter on this show, talking about things in the world that are kind of negative. And so today we decided we're going to be positive. We're going to keep it all rainbows, puppies, and kitten videos.
Kittens, unicorns,
Like
Let's
that's
see
what,
if
that's
we
what we're
can do
doing
it.
tonight. We're going to see
pot
if we
of
can
gold
do
at the
that.
end of the rainbow. We're going to keep a tally on how, if we can stay
That's
on
right.
the positivity.
See if
Every
we can
time we go
stay
off
on
the
the
positivity
positivity
topic, we're
train.
going to take a tally.
That's right. And so here's what I want to start out with. We are having at Christ Community Church, we're having the summer of outreach, and so we're doing a lot of just different outreach things. We've canvassed our neighborhood a couple times. already this summer. We actually have all kinds of different outreaches going. And Miss Pam Bone, Pastor Pam, she didn't like pastor, but because she's not an ordained elder in the Free Methodist Church, but she's a pastor in my book. Pam Bone is she's our outreach coordinator, outreach director, and she's just doing a great job of doing all kinds of outreach this summer. And so our youth this week did some outreach, did some today, and we're doing some more tomorrow. This show is Friday, June 22nd. And so that's when we're recording. So today we actually went down to the Victory Drive Walmart. We're here in Columbus, Georgia. And Victory Drive is the drive that goes into Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the home of the infantry, home of the Ranger Battalion, or the Ranger School, home of the Airborne School. And so Victory Drive Walmart is down by the base. And so there is a guy, a buddy of mine named Travis St. John, and he started a nonprofit organization called Holidays Home for Heroes. And basically what they do is they pay to bring soldiers home that couldn't pay for themselves to come home for the holidays.
That's awesome.
And so it's a nonprofit that is, and this year they decided to do one of those fireworks booths, and they get 20% of everything they sell is going to go toward that nonprofit. And so our youth went today, early this morning, and helped set up the fireworks display.
Yep.
I did not know that it took that much to set up a fireworks display.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what I thought it took. Like, I don't know if like Harry Potter waved his wand and it all just went in there. But dude, it was crazy.
I'm just going to say, it was way more work than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought we were going to get there and we were just going to like unload a truck a little bit and like maybe stack some stuff, and we'd be gone in like an hour or so.
No doubt.
And it's turned into like an all morning.
Yeah, it was like a six and a half hour affair.
But I learned what $35,000 worth of fireworks looks like.
That's right.
It's a lot,
it's a lot.
gentlemen. It's a lot.
You could put on a pretty good show with $35,000 worth of fireworks. And I learned today that in Georgia we don't care what fireworks you sell. Like as long as it's not dynamite. We're selling it.
Didn't used to be that way.
And I'm okay with that.
Not long ago.
I'm so hyped about that. I'm so hyped about it.
When I was growing up, we couldn't buy fireworks here. We had to go to Alabama to buy them.
Because that's such a far drive.
Yeah.
Like, literally, if you don't have a map or Google Maps, just raise your hand. Somebody will come and hit you in the head with a tack hammer. But Columbus, Georgia is right on the Alabama border. Like, if you tripped wrong, you could end up in Alabama from Columbus. So it's not that far of a drive. But now we don't even have to go to Alabama.
Yeah.
We don't have to give them our tax money.
Nope.
So the only thing I like about Alabama is that my daughter was born there, and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
That's it. So
Woo! Football season is getting closer and
It is
closer.
it is getting closer. It is. And so we're just happy. We served this morning. It was a lot of fun. I actually had a good time.
It was fun.
Setting up fireworks. It was a little warm, but we live in
My neck got
Georgia.
pretty toasty.
We live in Georgia in June, so
Yeah.
it's not like we can't expect it to be warm. So we did that tomorrow, which will be June 23rd, Saturday, June 23rd. This podcast will already be out by then, or maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Really?
It'll be out tomorrow sometime.
No, it won't.
So, look, I
Let's
bet
be
you it will.
honest.
Let's bet right now.
I'll bet a penny. I have a
bet
penny on me
you-
right now.
I bet you all 20 push-ups that I have it out
I'll
tomorrow.
do it.
You know what? Yeah, I'll do 20 push-ups if I get it out by
I'll do
tomorrow.
it tonight just to prove a point.
I'll do 50 push-ups.
Okay,
For real.
deal. It's
I mean,
on.
I need to gain muscle, so I might do 20 push-ups anyway.
It's
so.
on. It's going to be out tonight then. So we're going tomorrow, June 23rd, to serve some more. In the morning, we're going to Camp Swamp Fox, which is a new camp that is being put in Smith Station, Alabama by David and Mallory Downey. And shout out to the Downeys.
I'm excited.
It's called Camp Swamp Fox. It is for young men who need mentors in their lives. And so the whole function of the camp is going to be fun. It's going to be biblically based. We're going to have worship services, games. It's for guys like 7 to 12 or 13, I think. I don't know exactly. It's those ages though. And so it's for those kids that come from kind of high-risk homes, fatherless homes, that sort of thing. And the whole function of the camp is to get them connected with a mentor.
Right.
And so even the camp is like I think it is a 5-to-1 ratio, camper to counselor. And so each camper like 5 campers and 1 counselor. That's a good bit of mentorship that we'll be able to go on. And so, and then the hope is that throughout the year, these counselors will mentor these kids all throughout the year, which I think is a phenomenal idea.
Right, they're men that are from the community.
Yes, they're men.
That's
or
awesome.
on the board
Yep.
of the camp, and that knew ahead of time that they were going to be investing in these.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep. And so it's a cool little camp. But tomorrow we're going out there with a lot of our youth. A lot of our student leaders are going out, and we're going to help put up the obstacle course for the week.
Yeah.
We're going to do some things that need to be done at the camp to get ready for the camp, because the camp is in the third week in July. And so it's coming up pretty fast.
Yeah.
So they need some help still getting it together. David has been doing just a fantastic job. He's a great home builder. Downey Homes, if you need a home built, check him out. And I don't even get paid to say that.
You should.
But I love David, so if I was going to build a home, I'd let him do it. So, but he's been just building out there like a mad crazy person. They got 2 cabins up. The second one's like got some finishing work still to do, but he's been doing a great job. It's going to be a great camp, so I'm excited about that. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to go help a family in our church that just needs some help moving out of their house. The father of the family, the husband of the family, passed away a couple months ago, and they're just needing some help, some encouragement, and so we're going to go do that. We're going to spend some time over there and help them move out of their house, help clean up their house, so they can move into an apartment, smaller apartment. So we're going to do that tomorrow. So I'm just excited about kind of the spirit of just service that we got going on this week. Then we got some other things coming up in the next week, in the next few weeks, maybe to serve, that are on the table. Excited. Next Wednesday, we got our first P3 event of the summer.
Yes. I hope we have good
P3.
weather.
Yeah, I hope we do too. P3 stands for Prayer, Praise, and Party. And the middle school is going to one place. They're going to the Joneses. They're going to keep up with the Joneses at Brandon and Catherine's house. Thank you, Jones, for hosting. They're going to go swimming. They got like a petting zoo out there.
That's awesome.
I don't even know. They might deliver a baby goat. I don't know. You never know at the Joneses' house. You never know what's going to happen. You could be laying eggs, and I don't know. There's a lot going on out there.
We're going to be laying eggs?
That sounds
Yeah,
painful.
well,
That sounds painful.
A bird.
Yeah. You going to birth a bird?
Yes.
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 And the high schoolers don't have any idea where they're going just yet, but they're going to
be
meet.
awesome.
They're going to meet at the Hofers, and then we're going to go out somewhere, destination unknown style. But it's going to be cool. They've just been told, hey, bring swimsuit, towel,
You're going to leave them out in the woods.
sunscreen.
With nothing but a knife.
That's right.
And a flint.
We're
gonna
gonna
put
go
their-
trespass on the water facility that treats water and just go
just swim in there.
You're gonna
Ew.
leave them out in
That'd
the
be so
woods. They have to find their way back
That
home.
leads me to my next story. We were at camp one year, and
Uh-oh.
2 of our guys,
Oh, you told me the story.
Oh yeah, that
Ben,
was like
Ben and Graham, 2 of my favorite dudes of all
that
time.
was a long time ago.
Ben and Graham, this is a totally long time ago. But we pull up to this camp. We've never been to this campground before. And at the beginning of the camp, there was a fenced in, what looked like pond. And these boys just wanted to go swimming so bad. They jumped off the van and start running toward this supposed pond. Well, this pond had a fence all the way around it. And they're just booking it like they're gone. Like, and we told them, we gave them instructions, said, don't go out here, don't get in the water, go to the chapel. We got some work to do. And they didn't even listen. They just took off. And one of my counselors just ran after them. And luckily he caught them because they were going to jump the fence and get in the water. Well, the reason why there was a fence around this water was because it was sewage.
It's a cesspool.
It was literally a sewage cesspool. And so they would have been diving into things
Hilarious.
that you don't want to dive into.
Oh, that would be awful.
And so
But at the same time, to witness it would probably
It was
be
funny.
extremely
Was
hilarious.
that Camp Kumbaya?
if it wouldn't have got me fired, I'd have been like, just let them go. But that would have been
Was that
gross.
Camp
They'll
Kumbaya?
figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the first year we ever went
Yeah,
there. So
first
they
year
didn't
we
know where
went
the
there.
pool was. They were like, oh,
Right.
wow,
They said,
that's
pond,
cool.
let's get in.
I
That
bet
was
they'd
it.
never do it again.
Yeah, I bet they won't. So we're going to do that. We are not going to go to a cesspool to swim,
No.
pursuit. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun week. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into what is normally our sigh moment of the week.
But But
this week we're actually going to reverse that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a good moment of the week. We're going to talk about something that you saw or heard or talked about or tweeted about or IG'd about or Facebooked about that kind of restored your faith in humanity.
yeah.
Kind of gave you a good feeling, like pop rocks and butterflies in your stomach. So what do you got? Noah, what do you got this week?
I'll go first. I'm excited about this one. So, for those out there in the land, if anybody has been on social media a little bit this week, some of y'all may have noticed this, but last week, I don't know exactly when it was, but MTV did their awards. Was it for TV and movies?
Yep.
Yeah.
MTV Movie Awards.
Yeah. And Chris Pratt, famous actor, was given the Generation Award.
Mr. Star-Lord himself.
Yes. Was given the Generation Award, which basically is like presented to the person who's like an influence in the next generation.
It's like a Lifetime Achievement Award,
yeah.
but just for one generation.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And this dude goes up there and does like completely the opposite of what seems to be just the norm of of acceptance speeches for awards. Instead of getting up there and bashing a political viewpoint or trying to like progress towards some agenda that he has or social standpoint, he gets up there and he just presents like a full-on gospel message with a little bit of comedy in there
like
as well.
A countdown, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was Chris Pratt's.
Go ahead.
Chris Pratt's 9 rules to live by.
That's right.
And some of them were funny, but then like he would say something funny and then be like, I think it was like rule number 3 was God loves you. God is real. God loves you. And nothing can change that. And then was like, learn to pray.
Yeah, that was number
because
1,
it is
wasn't
good for your soul. And then was just like, you have been created like you are for a purpose. Someone has paid for you with their blood. And it was just like, what? He had like given a full-on gospel message. And it was just so refreshing to see.
Like, I already knew, like, that he
Mm-hmm.
had a relationship with Christ, but it makes me like him even more.
Yeah, that he was very on an award. Not even on a. It's one thing to be like a celebrity Christian on your social media, but to get on an award stage like the MTV Movie Awards, that's not known for its believers, and present the gospel, like to say God is real, and God loves you on a stage like that. Is huge.
Yeah.
His third rule was actually don't be a turd, which is my favorite. Which was my favorite.
Which is a really good
rule.
one.
That's a great
it was like
rule.
every other one was
I
a
have
funny
definitely
one.
adopted that into my own life mantra.
Gosh.
Chris Pratt's number 3 rule: don't be a turd. That's my favorite.
That was
Don't
good.
Don't be
one
a
of our-
turd, and
Yes.
God loves you.
That's gonna be one of our core values
That'll
and
be
pursuit.
rule
Yes.
number 2 for us. So
Don't-
rule
yeah,
number
rule number 1 is don't die.
Rule number 2,
Don't
Rule number
be a
2,
turd.
rule number 2 is now don't be a turd.
That's awesome.
That's great because it's rule number 2.
Yes.
So great. This is what he said his last one, and I love this. The 9th one was, the rule number 9 was nobody is perfect, but there is a powerful force that designed you that way.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to accept that, you will have grace. And grace is a gift. And like the freedom we enjoy in this country, that grace was paid for by someone else's blood. Don't forget it. Don't take it for granted.
Good stuff.
That's right.
And then said, "Please get home safely."
Yeah.
And I just loved the whole thing.
Yeah,
it was
he
so
killed
good.
it. He went up. I mean, he was always kind of. I love him. Like I think he's a great actor. I think he's hilarious, but he's funny.
Definitely one of my favorite
And he's got
actors.
he can do drama and I wasn't a big Parks and Rec guy. People loved him in Parks and Rec. Thought it was great. I've never been into that kind of genre. I wasn't an Office fan. I wasn't a Parks and Rec fan.
Same.
But I love him in the Jurassic Park movies. He's great as Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything lately that he's done that I did not like. So, but this really bumped me up like 20 levels with him. Just the way he handled it, because it wasn't over preachy. It wasn't like I'm better than you. You need Jesus. It was great, man. It
Yeah.
was just that whole line about grace and your blood. Someone else paid for your shortcomings with their blood. I love that.
And it really just blew me away because like I could see someone getting up there and being, saying something about like a higher power or like kind of saying a gospel message, but kind of trying to like sugarcoat it. But he got up there and was like, God is real.
Yeah, that was number one.
And I was like, whoa,
I
that
feel
is
like,
huge.
And thinking on it while you're talking, about him talking about God on TV, I feel like a lot more shows have had. They're sneaking in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on, sure.
And like some of the shows that I've seen recently,
I think a lot of that has to do with. I think a lot of that has to do with. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but.
Oh my gosh.
This is both bad and good. Like I'm
get a tally mark.
I'm trying to filter this before I say it because it could end badly for all of us, but.
Mike at ccclive.org.
That's right. Email me at mike@ccclive.org. Obviously, you don't have to listen to this show for more than 5 seconds to understand that I'm not a big Donald Trump fan. But there is this kind of not resurgence, but there's this reassertiveness of the evangelical right in the country because of what Trump did, and I'm not hooking my wagon to that train. Like there's part of me that doesn't want to be evangelical, not even labeled that anymore because it's got such a awful political twist to it now. But because there's been a insurgence or a reinsertion of this evangelical right, I think that is kind of bled into mainstream media. And the reason, and everybody knows, the only reason media does things is because it sells.
Right.
And so because they see the buying power of some of the evangelical right, I think they've kind of expanded that a little bit and allowed more Jesus talk than there normally is. We've even seen that in Christian hip hop. Like a lot of Christian hip hop artists are being signed to mainstream labels now because of the buying power. Now, my hope and my prayer is that we continue that, but without the stigma of being attached to the Republican Party.
Right.
Not that the Republicans are bad, because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I think they're good in both. I think they're bad in both. I don't buy the whole vote for the lesser of two evils. I think that's a dumb statement. That's a whole nother show we can do. But I do hope and pray that through this, that there is a resurgence of real Christian worldview that happens. And that we can stand up and say things like Jesus is real and God is real and grace and the blood has been paid. All of those things without sounding preachy, without sounding judgmental, without sounding like we're better than anyone else. But that, hey, we love you. Like this is all out of love and not hate. And so I enjoy that about that. That's the one that is the one good thing I hope comes out of this whole Trump era, President Trump era.
I'm hoping that there are people in Hollywood that do believe, they are believers, but they've been suffocated for so long. That
no
now
doubt.
they actually get to,
Yeah.
share their faith.
Maybe this will be a turning point.
Yeah. That's
Justin
good because
Bieber.
it was feeling suffocating.
And he's a
for
super
while.
duper star. Like Chris Pratt is not like
He's
not on the
tiny
B.
right
He's not
now.
on the B list.
Yeah.
Like Chris Pratt is on the A
in
list.
the MCU and Jurassic Park.
That's right. He is on the
all
A
he's
list.
missing is Star Wars,
Yeah,
and that'd be like the big three right now.
Sure, no
He
doubt.
is the Star Lord.
He's a Star Lord. Get it?
Yeah.
All right, Evan.
So who else?
So, and we got. Oh, hold on. I got one more thing about the Chris Pratt thing. This is hilarious. Like you said that he said it on MTV, which is known for their trash. The Babylon Bee came out with a post like the day after and said MTV wanted to apologize for subjecting your mind to something positive.
Yeah.
That wasn't just garbage.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I love the Babylon Bee.
It did not go with their core values.
Oh wow.
I thought that was hilarious. The bee.
The
thing with the
does
bee
not
is so
care.
savage,
It does
dude.
not care.
It's funny because it's
There's
partially
always
true.
a little
There's
bit of truth in
tiny
it.
bit
No
of truth.
question. The B is savage.
Yeah.
Like there's a few times I would look at it and go, "Oh my gosh, ouch!" Like they.
Yeah,
did
there's
not put
sometimes
that
that I'm like, yeah, I
They
don't
went
even
a
know if I would
little
joke
too
about
They're
that.
far. Yeah.
not afraid to hurt
But they're
people's
not
feelings.
afraid. No. They go after everybody. There's
Yeah.
no one safe when it comes to the B. So Evan, what you
All right,
got?
Evan.
Man,
You're,
life's good.
Your rainbow and kittens and Skittles thought of the week.
Yeah, life's good right now. I've got a real sweet lady friend.
I like it.
She's
She's
sitting
good
beside
people.
him right
She
now.
makes me happy. It's
She's
about
good
to be her
people, man.
18th birthday.
I'm gonna cry.
She's really good to me.
Yes.
Just want to
Anna
shout her
Claire
out real
Moore is
quick.
good people.
But
She's sitting right here in the same room with
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Shout out to Anna.
She's our production
best
manager
friend.
today.
But anyways,
The show was produced by Anna Claire Moore.
yeah. This past Tuesday, we went to a concert, and
Yes.
me and some of my good
So
buddies.
dope.
It was a good concert,
It was good.
It was good.
and
Surprisingly.
I had one of the best conversations I've had in a long time.
Oh yeah.
All about nipples. Like it just that was a really made me laugh so
I had
much.
no idea that's where that was going.
Yeah, no, I know you guys would not.
Oh, I can't believe we went to another
Yeah,
one of those conversations.
yeah. It made me laugh so much.
You're killing me.
It made me feel better about life.
It would be
Humanity-
a Pursuit Guys
Trust in
trip.
humanity was
If
restored.
I had to
I
have,
was there.
if I had to,
And Anna was there.
if I had to choose between having that conversation again, or even using that word ever again, and LeBron James winning 3 more titles, I would pick LeBron James winning 3 more titles.
Wow,
That's how bad it is.
That's a
Bringing
heavy
it back
statement.
around.
That's how bad it is.
What about your son becoming an Auburn fan?
Oh,
I'd be okay with that. I'm
You'd be
okay
okay
with
with
that.
that?
Yeah,
I-
especially if he goes to Auburn, they give
It's a
him a
good
scholarship.
school.
I'd be all right.
it's really hard to say.
He's got the
that.
beard to match their colors.
He does.
The
Good old red-
ginger
good
beard
old
matches
red
the
beard.
orange.
Mhm.
True.
Good old red beard. He's an Alabama fan though.
He's a no.
He
he's
doesn't
not.
care, fan.
He's
Yeah, he doesn't care. That's
So
true.
was your
That's true.
amazing moment really the conversation
Yeah,
about?
restored.
The concert
my-
was dope,
It
though.
restored
The concert was
his
dope.
soul.
I'm just gonna tell you, my respect. We're talking about respect meters going up. My respect meter for No Big Deal went up 1,000
Oh, yeah.
points during that concert.
It was good.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Like, cause he's the real deal, man. Like
Mhm.
he is not afraid to talk about Jesus either.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a concert Tuesday night. I'll just tell you a little bit about it, so we
At
don't get
the
too
Vinyl.
so we don't get too inside here. But Evan, Anna, Riley, myself, and Miss Kristen went to a concert Tuesday night, and it's a Christian hip hop concert, but it's 3 guys that are kind of not super mainstream. They're not even in Christian circles. They're not like big names, although.
I can name all 3 of them now.
Although What Up RG just signed with Reach
So
Records,
proud.
so he's on the up.
Oh yeah.
No Big Deal's record, best album came out this
Mhm.
past week, and
Solar.
it's totally dope. And then Mowgli was just
right?
there on that one stop, but
No,
he's,
he was on
He's
all
on
the
the tour.
stops.
he didn't he went to Nashville. They had some other guy featured.
No,
in
he
Nashville.
was in Nashville. They have a picture of him in Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's with them, but he wasn't
No,
on the card.
No, he's on the card.
I promise you wasn't. I looked at the tickets because I actually
Maybe not on the
almost
ticket.
I actually almost bought Nashville concert tickets going to Atlanta.
Nah, he was on the card.
So
That would have been kind of
It
disappointing.
was
I
it
know,
was
right?
What Up RG, No Big Deal, and Mowgli the Iceberg, and they make up a crew called the Indie Tribe with one other guy, and we were at Center Stage, which Center Stage has all kinds of different concerts, and Center Stage they sell beer, they sell alcohol, you can smoke there. It's a crazy little place, and so we're in this, but we're in their little
Stand and their
little more
stand-up
intimate
stage.
venue, and it was all standing room only, not a whole lot of space to stand up, or space to sit down, called the Vinyl. And there were actually people there, obviously were not there to watch a Christian concert.
Oh yeah.
And No Big Deal, he tore the house down first of all with his music, and then he literally gave a gospel message.
Oh, it was good stuff.
It was crazy. Like I was like, this is what it's all about. Like
They
this
all
is what
three
we
did.
should be doing.
All
yeah.
3 of them did.
Yeah, they definitely talked about Jesus, but No Big Deal like just laid it out there. Like this is
Mhm.
the gospel. So and I thought it was great. Good concert.
1KF was there.
Yeah, for like a hot second. He materialized, did a verse, and then dematerialized.
Yeah, he did.
Like Star
Homer
Trek.
Simpson.
Literally
Did he have
there
on
for
a
one
Beatles shirt on again?
Literally. No, he was wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat.
And I just want to point out that Mowgli the Iceberg is on the poster. He's all.
I didn't say the
all
poster. I said the
concerts.
ticket.
He maybe not on the ticket, but he is at
Maybe
every single
he had
concert.
an engagement there.
Okay, Kristen.
Nashville.
No,
What
there's
was
a
your-
picture of him in Nashville on
Okay,
Twitter.
we believe you, Evan. It's okay. And I bet three
There's about
people.
to be negativity on the
I
show.
bet 3 people listening to this show know who Mowgli the Iceberg
Okay,
is.
I know.
And 2 of them are on the show. So I'm not
just
sure
had
that
to
it
be
really
right.
matters. Kristen, what do you
Okay.
got?
All right, so yesterday I was at Publix
Yeah.
because Mike sent me to the grocery store.
Which is a grocery store here in Columbus,
Great
Georgia.
grocery store.
Mike sent
Southern.
me to the grocery store. He needed a couple things. And so I went to the grocery store, and I go to the checkout, and my debit card doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you know that moment where you're just like, I don't know what to do. So I
What
call
is
Mike,
wrong
and Mike,
with the world?
he was like, okay, I'm on my way.
And of course, she called me 11 times because my phone
Right.
was charging in another room, which never, ever happens.
So, you
but-
know, we have 4 cell phones in our house. I have one of them. And
Which
I
is
called
4
all
too
the other
many.
3, and no one would answer. And I'm just like, seriously, the one time
all
I
the
need to get a
moments.
hold of
Yeah.
them, no one will answer. And so I'm just standing there with the cart waiting because Mike was going to come rescue me. And
And we only live like 6
We
minutes
don't
from
live that
Publix, so it's
far.
not very far.
this lady walks by me, looks at the cart, and is talking to the girl at the front desk. She works at Publix, and she just kind of like has this look on her face of disgust. And at least that's how I read the situation. And she's like, well, what's this cart doing here? Because it was just kind of sitting there. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, that's mine. My husband's coming to help pay for the groceries or whatever. And she just kind of looked at me and walked away in the middle of my conversation and went to the register and was talking to the girl at the front. And she just walks over to me and hands me my receipt and says, have a nice day. It's taken care of. And it was like $15. It wasn't like a big deal. But I was like, I just looked at her. I didn't know what to do. I
But it
was
was
like,
a super big deal.
are you serious? And she's like, oh yes, this is you take it. She's like, now just pay it forward to somebody else next time. That's never happened to me because I've never been in that situation. And I was just like, you really, really don't have to do that. My husband's on his way here. It's not that big a deal. You know, I can handle it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, no, you go. She even wheeled my cart out to my car and talked to me the whole entire time. And that just
Because Publix is dope.
because Publix is amazing because they actually see people.
Shout out Publix.
So I
love Publix.
I just thought that was awesome. That grew my faith in
That's
our,
awesome.
in humanity because there are
Great.
people that actually care. So
Yep. It's because we're all created in the image of God and He cares. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
I had an experience like that happen one time when I was living out in Oklahoma for a summer. I was trying to be adulting. I was like, I'm going to go buy my own groceries. And I was so excited. I had my little shopping basket, and I had filled it up with stuff that I was going to eat. And I had been warned that, moving out there, I had my card at a bank here. And if you don't buy gas along the way, and it sees the progression of you moving towards it, like if you just go from one place to another with a huge mileage in between, they'll, shut your card down because they think somebody stole it.
they do it to me all the time.
Yeah. And so, I had bought gas in Oklahoma, and I was like, it worked. Okay, I can go use this to buy groceries. And I go to Walmart, buy groceries, and it doesn't work. And I had to take, half the items out of my bag, and I just kind of felt like a big old oaf.
It's so embarrassing.
It was
right?
so embarrassing. I was like, I promise I have money. I promise.
I know. It happens to everyone at some point. It's just
Yeah.
like, and you're like, okay, let me call the bank.
I had to leave
and-
my frozen buffalo nuggets at Walmart.
Dude, no.
Yeah, dude, it was rough.
That's sad.
Oh.
It was rough.
That is a struggle.
I don't even remember what I got to take home to eat, but it wasn't a lot.
Hopefully it was corn dogs.
I only
You
had
can-
like
you can
$5 in
sustain-
cash on me.
You
The
can sustain. on
Receipt was
corn
like
dogs.
15.
What about you, Mike?
And I'm trying to figure out what city this was in. I don't know the details of this, but but I saw the video, and it was so amazing. It rang true with me for a couple reasons, and I'll explain it here in a second. But there was a state championship baseball game that was taking place, a high school baseball game, and the guy pitching and the guy batting had been best friends since childhood. Like, they had been best friends forever. They just happened to go to two different high schools. And the guy pitching and the guy batting, they'd known each other their whole life. They'd been best friends forever. And it was the last out of the state championship game. And the pitcher strikes this kid out.
Oh, man.
To end the game and win the state championship. Or maybe it was to go to the state championship. Like, it was the winner goes to the state championship. And, of course, everybody's throwing their gloves up in the air. His team rushes the mound. They all come out on the field. They're celebrating, jumping up and down. This kid drops his glove and walks to home plate and hugs his best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And doesn't even celebrate with his team. And it was like, he consoled his best friend.
Yeah.
Oh.
And his best friend sitting there crying on his shoulder, and is like, the rest of the team is like celebrating on the mound, jumping up and down, throwing their hats and their gloves. And his only thought was, I just struck out my best friend. And I know he's sad right now. So let me go and do this, like, console him instead. And that's what he did. And I was like, man, that resonates with me for a bunch of reasons. I've had the same best friend since the second grade. Since the day I cut in the lunch line and took the last chocolate milk. And this is a true story. This is 100% true story. Second grade, I cut in the lunch line and grabbed the last chocolate milk. And my best friend, Tito, wanted chocolate milk. And so we got into a fight. And in the second grade. And so, but ever since then, we've been best friends. And so I know what this kid was going through. Like, I couldn't imagine that happening to my best friend.
You could not have the chocolate milk. You can't imagine not having the chocolate milk.
That's right. I took the chocolate milk, but if I were to strike him out in a baseball game, which actually I have struck him out in a baseball game, but not to go to the state championship, I can imagine what this kid is going through. So, like, it just hit me in the feels. And I played baseball all throughout growing up, and so I know the competitive side. Like, I want to win the state championship, but that just restored my faith a little bit in humanity, that this kid had it right. Like, there's always time to celebrate.
Yeah.
But that's my best friend right there, and I got to go be for him first.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that he struck him out. Like,
He
like,
wasn't
hey,
afraid to.
you're my best friend, but this is what we're supposed to do. But then afterwards, he went and hugged him. I just thought that was really cool that happened. And I was impressed with that young man. And if that young man is out there and for some reason he ever gets to listen to this, like, good work.
That's awesome.
Like, you have a future.
Yeah.
St. Paul, Minnesota.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Yep. Oh, I hated that. I hate that they have to live there. But
I was thinking this. I was gonna say something
dude,
positive.
you have no idea. Like, you can give me the face all you want.
You've never lived there.
The winter in St. Paul, Minnesota is brutal.
Okay.
Like, it is.
It's not even like
I don't think Jesus goes to St. Paul, Minnesota in the wintertime.
No.
Mormons say
That's how
different.
brutal it is.
It's so cold, dude. It is so cold.
It is so cold.
He would walk on top of the snow if he did.
I don't know. He was all human, though, so he had to get frostbite.
He walked on water.
He did do that.
That's why Jesus went to Israel instead of
That's right.
Sweden.
That's why he was born in
You think the
Israel,
heat
not
is
St.
cold.
Paul, Minnesota. Dude. All right, so here's our hot topic for the week.
Yeah.
We usually do a hot topic, and sometimes it's controversial. Sometimes it's a hot topic. It's hard. We talk about the hard stuff here. We don't shy away from the hard stuff. But today, because we're doing positivity, we want to do huge God moments for us. So each one of us have kind of picked a huge God moment that we just want to share for a few moments and just say, hopefully you're blessed by these God moments. So I'm gonna go in reverse. Chris, what's your huge God moment?
And I have 40 years now to think back on God moments.
She's 40, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd have to go way back. At least to me, it's way back to my college days. And I know you know what I'm talking about because you were there, but we had this.
She's talking to me. If nobody understands
sorry.
that.
Yeah, you.
Sometimes I think we forget that we're on radio. We're not No one can see us.
We just had,
I
we
don't
went
think
to,
any of us would have been alive back then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh,
a twinkle in
that's
the eye.
probably true. Let's see.
You definitely weren't alive.
No.
I was born in 1998.
This
It was
would've-
probably 1998, actually.
Oh,
You
so I
see,
may
It
have
was
you
been.
might have been.
97,
You might have been
98,
born. You
something
might have been
like
little
that. Baby Noah in the
little wee
world.
Noah.
So,
Wow.
for those of you who don't know, Mike and I both graduated from Indiana Wesleyan University, which is a private school, Christian school in Marion,
Shout out
Indiana.
Wildcats.
Woo-woo. And we had to go to chapel 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday,
Monday,
Friday.
Wednesday, Friday.
But we also had weeks, like 1 week in the fall and 1 week in the spring, I think, that
Yep.
they were, I don't even remember
Summit.
what they were called. Summit, that's right.
Actually, when we were in school, it's called Spiritual Emphasis.
Oh,
but
that's
now
right.
it's Summit.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a speaker there, Adrian Dupree.
Hey,
And I know you
love
knew that
dude.
was. Yeah, he was awesome. He was talking about,
It's the
The four
one.
chairs?
It's the only sermon he does. Like he does
four
one
chairs?
sermon. Yeah, 4 chairs.
the
Oh, I
four
love
chair,
it.
yeah. So, but he was talking about laying before God, laying it all out and laying before God. Now, when you have to go to chapel, that means there's a lot of students there.
Yeah, and it gets a
And
little mundane.
It was, of course, it's always packed out in there because you have to go.
Yep.
He had every single student in that building, and it's a big building with a balcony and everything,
Mhm.
on their faces before God
Mm-hmm. It was a
for
great
a
service.
very long time. And it was like, I think that's probably the first time that I really, really, really ever met Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't grow up in that
Yeah.
type of
She grew up
environment.
Calvin.
Yeah, so I didn't really have a true relationship with him until that moment. So that was my big, huge God moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that's good though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Evan, what about you?
Man, one of the number one moments that came to mind was just back in Philadelphia. We had this time where we just went and spoke to people living on the streets and brought them little sack lunches and just
Oh yeah,
talked to
I
them
love
about their
that.
lives and
Hands of Hope. Shout out Hands of
Yeah.
Hope.
heard just what was going on. And this dude, man, how can I remember his name? I think it was either Peter or Philip. But I went and sat down next to him, just gave him a lunch because he was hungry, and just talked to him while I was there.
Mm.
Heard from him, just heard about his life, and that wasn't anything that just was huge,
Yeah.
just in movement wise, but it just really spoke to me. Just these are people like that we just walk past every day.
Yeah.
These are,
100.
I mean, there's other people out there with real lives, real things going on that we just don't think about every day, you know? It was just a huge moment for me, and
No
God
doubt.
just really speaking in that.
No doubt. And I've done probably 4 or 5 of those now, and every time it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it just changes my perspective on people. I think we do forget sometimes that those are people. Like they're
Yeah.
real people with real souls, and every time I've done one of those, I learn more from that person than I teach that person. There's no question. Like not even close. So that's good, man. What about you, Noah?
Yeah. I can't remember if I've ever told this story on the podcast before. If I have, I'm sorry I'm telling it again because it was huge. But a long time ago, not a long time ago, what am I even saying? Maybe last summer.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. Towards the end of last summer, I was hanging out with some friends later in the night at a friend's house on a lake. And just on a whim, we were trying to figure out what to do. It's like close to 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, let's just go look at the stars. Because I love looking at the stars. And so they were like, sure, let's go do it. And so we go down to this dock. And right off the bat, I noticed something that I just thought was interesting. And that was that there was cloud coverage all around except right over the dock. There was just, perfect little circle where we could see the stars. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's nice. And then we're sitting there for a while, and I've got to paint the picture for y'all. It's two of my friends who were a couple, and then another two friends who were a couple, and then there's me, sitting alone on the dock by myself.
How romantic.
While the couples are
Fifth wheel.
Well, the couples are sitting there whispering to each other, giggling and all that, and I was just sitting there, lying on my back, looking at the stars with my hands on my chest, just kind of like, well,
Noah, you're my favorite.
ain't this just dandy?
At least you're holding hands with somebody, dude.
Yeah, I was holding hands with myself. And at the time, was really wanting to know kind of God's love deeper. I had read a book written by John Eldredge and his wife Stacy called Captivating. And in it, Stacy talked about an experience that John had had when he was at a retreat where he wanted to basically have like a love letter from God in the form of just some sign. Like, please just give me something to say that you love me, basically. I'm paraphrasing that a lot. And he said that way closer to shore than usual, a huge humpback whale just breached out of the water. And he's a huge nature outdoors person. So immediately that just resonated with his spirit, and he was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, this is from the Lord. And like the Holy Spirit really spoke to him and was like, I love you. And she said it in the book that she struggled because he got that and she had never really had something like that before. And so time went by and she talks about how she was at a retreat and was really just praying about the same thing. Like, I need to hear this from you, that I am beloved. And she said that she was walking along the beach and rounded this corner with like these stones, and there were just thousands of different colored and shaped starfish just scattered all just for yards. And again, she knew in her spirit, the Holy Spirit was telling her, like, I love you. And so after reading that, I kind of felt like Stacy in that position. I was like, you know, I never really had an experience like that before, and I really want to have that, like, knowing sign, like, I know that I am loved, I know that I am beloved. And so fast forward to that night on the dock, I was sitting alone and it was quiet, and I was just praying to myself and praying to God, and I just, in one of the most honest and just gut level prayers, I was just like, I just want to know you love me. And I don't know what to ask for, I don't know what big sign I want, but I've never seen a shooting star before. Could you send me a shooting star? And I kid you not, 5 seconds after I said, could you please send me a shooting star, from edge to edge of that circle of clouds that was open over the dock, I see the biggest and brightest shooting star I've ever seen just cross right in front.
Wow.
And it took me a moment to realize what had happened, because it happened so quickly. I was like, oh, the Creator God of the universe heard my prayer while sitting on a dock in the middle of a lake at 10 o'clock at night.
That's right.
To send a shooting star. And I knew it wasn't crazy because one of my other friends had seen it too, and he actually responded to it before I did, because I was just kind of sitting there quietly trying to process what had just happened.
Right.
And he was like, oh, did y'all see that shooting star? And I was like, yeah. That was kind of for me. Yeah. But as soon as I saw it fly from end to end, it was so simple. I just felt it in my spirit. It was just, I love you. And any time that I have gone throughout the week or the day since then, and have just felt down or useless or just kind of down in the dumps, I just can always look back to that. And it's always just the same thought. I love you. I love you.
It's good stuff. No.
And that's just stayed with me, and I know it's gonna stay with me forever. And it just, for one, it proved to my spirit, you know, I am beloved, I am loved. But it also showed that God cares about our prayers, even the small things, the personal things. Not just praying for someone else, which He does care about those. He prays about all different. He likes all different kind of prayers. He cares about all of those. And it just showed me that one way that he cares is in our deep desires and our personal desires, that he is a personal God as well.
That's
and
right.
it was just super powerful for me.
And that's good, man. God is real. Chris Pratt, 2018. Well, mine, I got two, and one's
You
one's
didn't
a
say
little.
we could say two.
Well, my show Rob rules.
He always does this.
I feel like we need to revolt here.
No, that
It's a
wouldn't be
positive
positive.
show.
Take the
Positive.
power back.
Sorry.
Save
sorry.
it for next week.
I feel
have
like
two,
we need
and
to
the first
have
one is just
a
real
civil
quick.
debate.
The first one's just real quick. Like and Kristen, you were there, obviously. I mean, we've been together for 19 years, so obviously most of my life you've been there.
That's a really long time.
Almost most of my life, I guess. Not really most of
No.
my life, but close.
No.
Close.
2/3.
It's more than 2/3 because I'm 43, and
More than
half of that would be
2/3.
21.
Yeah.
You mean 1/3?
Nope, it's more than that.
More than 2/3.
9 3/4.
No, it's not more than
That's about
2/3.
You said
half.
more than 2/3.
It's about half.
Okay, Mr. Correct everything everybody says.
I'm sorry.
He's a CHS kid.
How
He's one
about
of them smart
today?
kids.
You
I'm
be
just gonna have to
positive
roll
for
out of
once
here.
in your life. I got two. One is we were at youth camp. I think it was the same Poopy Pond youth
Oh
camp.
yeah, it was Camp Kumbaya in Mississippi.
And we had our very first worship service while we were there, and it ended up being a 4.5 hour worship service, and the guy who was supposed to preach didn't even preach. It was just such a move of God. It was one of those things where you know that God was there, that it wasn't manufactured. It wasn't something that you started. It was just a genuine move of God. And so I felt bad for our worship team because they basically had to play music for 4 hours.
It wasn't bad for me.
And it
was
wasn't
bad
even
for
like
Blaine,
it wasn't even
'cause
like leading a song. They were just playing basically pad the whole time. And poor Blaine,
Blaine's
our buddy
fingers.
Blaine, by the time he got done, his fingers were all bloody because he'd been strumming his
finally
guitar
sat down
for
on the steps and
4
played,
hours. But it was worth it because it was just this genuine move of God.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it wasn't because of something that some pastor said or the word. It was just a real genuine move of God. And it was like we would sing a song, and then one of the students would get up and do a testimony, and then another student would get up and do a testimony, and then they would
On their own.
then
It
on
wasn't
their own, like
prompted, yeah.
unprompted. And then people would be in the altar like crying and praying for each other. And then we go, okay, let's do another song. Maybe we can get a worship set in. It was one of those times. It was one of those times where, as a leader, you're like, what do I do here? I mean, we have this list of things that we want to do during this worship service, and we're literally not going to get to any of them. But I mean, I was kind of convicted afterwards that God doesn't need my list, doesn't need my worship set, and I was definitely part of something that was unique that night. And I'll never forget that 4 hour worship service at Camp Kumbaya. So the other one it happened here in Columbus. This just kind of goes to show like the power of prayer, and just being obedient, listening for God's voice, and then moving when He says move. I think it was 3 prayer weeks ago. We have this thing here at Christ Community Church called Prayer Week. We don't do a revival. It's called Prayer Week, where we just have Sunday through Thursday usually is just like a very intentional time of prayer. Like every night we have some worship, and then we have just something that we meditate on and pray about. And we sometimes we'll have a speaker, but it's very little. It's not like a big, huge to do, but it's prayer week. But then afterwards, we all kind of go out to dinners most of the time. And we went to IHOP. IHOP. It's our pancakes.
A bunch of people.
Yeah, with a bunch of people. I mean, there was probably 25 people there. And we're all sitting at this big old long table. And, of course, it was close to closing time. So you know how those people are like, oh, my gosh, now I got to feed 25 people. And we only got an hour to go, and we're going to close. And
I hated those people.
Now we have to remake all these pancakes. And so But we were there, and you can tell they were just super slow and overwhelmed. And it was one of those deals where you're like, your flesh is like, oh, this place sucks. They can't get my food right, can't get it out on time, blah, 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 blah. But at the end, we were all leaving. And I think it was just me and Kristen. Maybe Jody and Dwayne were still there. Cresswell. And maybe a couple other people, but not very many people. A lot of people were in line paying. And this one waitress that was waiting on us just kind of, I could just sense something in her soul. And God was like, you need to ask her if there's anything I pray for her about. And so I said, hey, is there anything I can pray for you about? I just sense that you need prayer today. And she just breaks down and cries like immediately. And she says, yes, this is my today is the 4th anniversary of the day my daughter died. And she said, it's just been a really rough day for me. And she said, I'm sorry, we've been really slow. And I stopped her. I was like, no, don't worry about that. I ain't worried about that food. But I just want to know if I can pray for you. And she said, I would love it. And she just told me her story a little bit. And I didn't say, it wasn't like this elaborate prayer. It was just kind of me just saying, hey, Jesus, I don't know what to do, but you do. And relieve her pain and her stress and like only you can. And she had this glow about her at the end, like almost like a renewed pep in her step, like. And it wasn't me for sure, because I mumbled through a prayer that probably wasn't even a good prayer. But it was like God met her there at that moment. And it's when, like we talked about before, it's when the sacred and the secular just collide. And at that point, we're in this secular space, doing secular things, eating pancakes at an IHOP. And a lot of us, even myself included, was a little bit perturbed by the service, like because it was slow and some people didn't even get the right food. And then God shows up. And it's like only like he can. And it was just huge, just God moment for me. And ever since that day, I've messed it up before, but I've tried to listen to that voice that says, pray for this person. And I don't do I'll pray for you now. Like, I don't say that anymore. Like if I feel like I have to pray for a person, I pray for them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even tell somebody, oh, I'll pray for you and your family. Because if I'm going to do that, I might as well just pray for them. And it all started from that moment, like at that IHOP where God showed up in this just crazy secular moment. And so those are my two big God moments. One was just kind of a corporate God thing. Another one was just like when God really showed himself real to me. And so I got a scripture I want to read for us this week. And it's found in 1 Thessalonians 5. And I'm just going to read the whole 5, 1 through 11. And it just says, now concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you have no need to have anything written to you. For you yourselves are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying there's peace and security, then sudden destruction will come upon them, as labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and then they will not escape. But you are not in darkness, brothers, for the day to surprise you like a thief in the night. For you are all children of light, children of the day. We are not of the night or of the darkness. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober, having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for the helmet of salvation, the helmet of hope of salvation. For God has not destined us for wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us, so that whether we are awake or asleep, we might live with him. Therefore, and so basically he said all of that in the first 10 verses to say this. That's what the word therefore means. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing.
Wow.
And so I love that whole scripture where it talks about Paul's just reminding them, you guys really don't need to hear this, but I'm going to tell you anyway again, that you're not people of darkness, you are people of light. But there are trials, there are things that suck, there's destruction. Like the thief is going to come like labor pains all of a sudden, but you're not in darkness and you live in the light. You're not asleep, you are woke. Yeah. But he says, and all of that, he wants you to know all of that so that you can continue to encourage one another and build each other up. I think I might have told this story on here before. I know I've told it to our youth before, but we had, in college, we were really good at making fun of each other. Like it got to the point where we couldn't be in the same room with each other without making fun of each other. We'd point out each other's faults all the time. We would laugh at each other. And it got to the point where that's all we would do. Mm-hmm. And so we decided that once a week we were going to try to go 24 hours without saying anything negative to each other. Boy, those are the hardest days ever. Especially for a guy like me who grew up in a place where we just were always negative. And part of our love language was we made fun of each other. Mm-hmm. Like you really, by making fun of somebody is really how you told them you love them. Like that's how I grew up.
The sixth love language.
Yeah, it's like the sixth love language.
Sarcasm.
Mama jokes.
Yeah,
the sixth love language, mama jokes. And so your mama jokes. And so that was tough for me, man. But I tell you, those days were some of our best days because we really did encourage each other. Even if we couldn't make it 24 hours, we really tried. And so I say all that to say this. Try to spend a day in this next 30 days where you just encourage people. Mm-hmm. Don't say anything negative that day. Don't give into the negativity online, social media, whatever. But try to use your words to encourage. I tell you, Blythe and Ellie do this better than anyone. Mm-hmm. Yes. They do it better than anyone I know, adult or teenager. Mm-hmm. Like they really do it better than anyone. And I respect them and love them for that. Like they're so good at it. And so I just hope, I just challenge us that in the next 30 days, pick a day and say, this day, I'm going to not say negative about anybody. Everything I'm going to do, every word I speak, because we speak life or death with our tongue. The Bible literally says that you speak life or death with your tongue. And so I just want to say, speak life. Mm-hmm. I'm really doing a study right now on speech in the Bible. Like, how do we use our speech? And I'm finding out and rediscovering that God spoke and things happened. Mm-hmm. Yes. And he's given us that same authority to speak and make things happen. Not in the way that a lot of preachers.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, like cheeseburger, boom, it's there.
Cheeseburger.
Right. Not in the way that a lot of like televangelists or mega church pastors do it today. Like,
it don't work.
Oh, I won a $54 million plane, so you should all give it to me. Not in that way. But if you're walking in the light of God and you're walking in the will of God, then you should be able to speak life into somebody's life. And you should be able to speak life into existence. And so I am praying that you'll take this challenge. Mm-hmm. That sometime in the next 30 days, you will just spend 24 hours being positive. Mm. Like everything you say is life instead of death. Yeah. So that's my challenge for this next 30 days for us from this show. So our final thought today. Yeah. You have something, Miss Kristen?
I do not.
Okay. What was our final thought again? We're going to do something.
Say like
Noah came up with this one.
Talk about a small thing in life that makes you happy.
Okay.
Like what's a little thing that brings joy to your life?
Sure.
You got to enjoy the little things.
All right. What about you, Noah? What's yours?
Oh, I wasn't prepared to go first.
You're right.
Does anybody else have one first?
Your idea. What's your little thing?
All right.
Cheeseburgers.
You know, hot dogs.
Yeah, of course.
No. I could try to suck up and be like corn dogs.
Corn dogs.
but
I
I'm
love
not.
corn dogs.
I don't go for.
I was
the
actually going to
points.
use that one, but I'm gonna go with something else.
A little thing that makes me happy.
Evan.
You know what?
Evan.
Evan Amon. Evan Amon makes me happy. No. Well, he does make me happy, but he's kind of a bigger thing. He's a big boy. But
Yeah. He's 5'10",
I've-
86 pounds.
I've grown out of my booster seat.
There you go. You don't have to use a booster seat anymore.
yeah. But a little thing that makes me happy is getting to sit in my room. I've made myself a makeshift office. I got tired of not having a place to sit and work on stuff, so I got a card table from the garage, dusted it off, and I just planted it
Boom.
right in the middle of my room. And so now I have nowhere to walk in my room, but I have a table, and I'm really happy about it.
That's adulting right there.
Yeah. And so just like last summer, the Lord really started to reveal this, I don't know, I guess I would say a gift for writing. Songs, poetry, spoken words, whatever you want to call them, and like just something that deepens my connection with the Lord, and I don't know, just brings out more joy. Is just being able to sit with the window open at my table and fill a journal with whatever the Holy Spirit is speaking at that time.
That's good.
It's just taking time to sit and reflect and put in the words what the Holy Spirit is speaking is, I mean, I guess that's kind of a big thing, but it's also just a little personal thing for me because it's like, you know, that's my heart and conversation with God on a page.
Yeah.
And so it's both a big thing, but also a little thing because it's just deeply personal. So, yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Evan.
Also
Man.
a good Coca-Cola every now and then.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Coke.
Good stuff. But man, music,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
that gets
Life.
me. That just helps me out on
Good
a
music.
on a down day.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Just a
it.
little bit of music in my life always seems to cheer me up. The
good
culture
stuff.
behind it, the people, just understanding where they're coming from, the
I
art of
agree.
it all. It
I
just,
agree.
it just brings me up, man.
I like it.
Especially the good stuff that fills your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Chrissy. Little Joy O the Day.
As I reflect.
I had a friend in college. Her name's Karen Grinder. Something else now. She's married.
Yeah.
But that was her thing.
Bowden.
Like, I used to love this. Karen Bowden. That's right. And I used to love this. She would do this for our whole friend group. We had a friend group about 20 people. And she would send out, like, little joys of the day. Like, they were really the funniest little things. But when you look
She's
back at them,
hilarious.
they were awesome. Like, she'd send you, like, a picture of a butterfly or just something crazy that you didn't think about. But she would, and she'd put them in, like, campus mail. Because, like, in campus mail, you can mail something to another student without having to pay for it. So you just stuck it in campus mail and it went in your mailbox. And she would do that for, like, our whole circle of friends. And she would do them very regularly, like, little joy of the day. And I never forgot that. Like, that's just and that's what I thought about when you said this, Noah. It was like, what's your little joy of the day? So what's yours, Chris?
Oh, it's my turn now?
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
okay.
Positivity. I love how positive we are on this show.
Well, I was going to say silence, but because I really like to have silence. But actually, nature. Because
Nature's
good.
a big thing.
I
good.
love to
That's
be
good.
at the sea. I love to camp and be out on a hike.
Mm-hmm.
I love to sit out in the hammock. So it's got to be nature. I mean, that's what fills me.
That's
I
good.
think. Yeah.
My little joy is laughter.
Mm.
Like, I love laughter. It really is my little joy. Like, I could be having just the worst day and hear someone laugh, and it brightens my day. All right. Well, those are the little joys of the day. That's our final thought. I love it. This has been our semi-positive show.
I would say we didn't get a tally mark.
It may
She
be-
didn't put a tally mark on there.
It may be what?
Anna didn't put. I said that Anna was gonna put a tally mark for every negative thing.
Oh,
she
yeah,
never put a
yeah.
tally mark.
Yeah. That's because she ran out of ink. It was our semi-positive show. I appreciate the effort. So this has been Pursuit Table Talk. I'm Pastor Mike Hofer. I'm joined by
No Barfield.
Evan Amon.
Kristen Hofer.
and we out.
I wish Mother was here.
This is the Candyland Hour for all good children. The orchestra will play our theme song.
You know that song, don't you?
Sure I do.
Well, then sing it.
Lollipop, lollipop.